You know, vintage keys are becoming all the rage today, and I'm not sure why they're coming back, but they are. Today, I'm going to show you how to design this key from scratch in Lightburn without any other tools. And I think you're going to enjoy this video today because it's a combination of doing something nostalgic and fun, and at the same time, we're going to learn how to use a lot of the tools that are in Lightburn as well. Now, this is plastic. I did it on my LaserMATIC 10 diode laser, and it's a plastic called Rowmark. So it's two layers. You have the top layer, which is yellow, and then the bottom layer, which is black. And the 10-watt laser does a really superb job on this Rowmark plastic. I'll put a link down below in the description if you want to go check it out. It's not an affiliate link. They don't have an affiliate program, I don't think. But I'll put that link down in the bottom in the description if you want to go take a look at this plastic. Because I know a lot of people want to engrave and cut plastics, and this is laser safe, and it is available. I think I got this at JP Plus. I'll have to take a look and make sure. But let's jump over into Lightburn real quick and learn how to design this from scratch. Let's go. All right, so here we are in Lightburn, and I'm going to show you the progression of iconic vintage hotel keys and how I designed this from scratch. And you know, you can get these anywhere online, but designing it is much nicer than picking up a template online. So I started over here on the left with a rectangle. That's all this is a rectangle. It is literally a 30-second design, and I'll show you how to do that. Then I moved on to the second one over here, and I put in the washboard lines, top and bottom, and then I put the We Guarantee postage stamp down here at the bottom. So this is my second template. I have all this in an art library over here. Then I moved on and decided to design two iconic movie hotel keys. And the first one is the Bates Motel, which I'm sure that you're all familiar with. Room number 1 was the most famous room in the movie because that was the room that was adjoining the office where Norman Bates could look through the peephole and see what people were doing, dressing, undressing in the room next door. And yeah, I know you guys probably know all of this, but I want to cover this for the youngsters that probably or may not know anything about it. So let's move on to the next one over here, which is the Overlook Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Now, there is no such place as the Overlook Hotel. The name of where this movie was shot of the hotel was called the Timberline Lodge, and the room that this is 237 doesn't actually exist. So the room is actually 217. They made an agreement with the hotel that they wouldn't use that room number 217 where they shot it, and they would change that room number to 237 because that's a number that doesn't exist. The hotel was afraid that people wouldn't want to stay in the room in the future. So now what happened in room 237, according to the movie, was Jack Torrance in the movie. His son had claimed that he had a confrontation with two little girls in room 237. So Jack went to room 237, and when he walked in, he found a beautiful young naked woman in the bathtub. So she got up, got out, and started kissing him. And during the kiss, the woman became an ugly, old, rotting woman, and he realized that in the middle of this long kiss, ran out of the room, and she chased him out, laughing at him, I guess because of his infidelity or whatever. But anyway, there's the history of these two keys right over here. And what you're probably here for is to figure out how you design this. So let's get started and let's start designing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to have this crosshair on. If you don't have it on, come up to the gear icon up here on top. Click on the gear icon and tick on this little green button here that says Show Work Area Cross. So we already have it on. We're good to go. I'm going to move these out of the way because I want to use that center work area cross. Now I'm going to grab a primitive rectangle up here, top left side. I'm going to hold shift so I can draw a square, and I'm not worried about the size right now. I'm going to select that square and I'm going to rotate it 45 millimeters right up here. Rotate, press enter, and now we have our key. Or something similar anyway. Let's make it into a key. Okay, so we're going to select it. We're going to come to the radius tool down here, and we have 30 millimeters selected. That's good. I'm going to click on the top corner. I have to select it first. Click on this radius. I'm going to click on the top, and I'm going to click on the bottom at 30 radius. Now I'm going to change that radius to, I'm going to put 15, and you probably can even skip this step, but I want you to see what I did, which is probably wrong. But that's okay. I'm going to switch back up here to inches, and now we know, when I did some research right here, that 1.75 by 3.5 is the size of this key. So let's go ahead and do that. So in the width, I'm going to put 1.75. I'm going to press tab, and I'm going to put 3.5 and press enter, and there is the beginnings of our key. So now the next step that I'm going to do is put this in the center. I'm going to hit the center crosshair right here. Now if you don't see these crosshairs up here, if you right click on this white space, that means that you have the arrange menu selected. Unselect that one and select the arranged long, and you'll see all of these tools. Alright, so now we've got this in the center and we've got it selected. We're going to come over here to the node edit tool. We're going to click on node edit, zoom way in, and what I want to do is I want to add a node right here in the middle. So I'm just going to pass my mouse right there and press the M key on my keyboard, and I want to press the M key over here as well. So now I have extra nodes put in there, and all that's doing is just basically giving me a couple more nodes to work with should I need them. And if you take a look at my base template over here, I'm going to bring it out side by side so you can see what I did. We'll put this one right next to it, and you'll see that we now have the side is perfect just like we needed. And what we have to change is the top and the bottom. So let's reselect this, come back into node edit. Now we're going to use this center line right here. And you'll see that if I count from the center line, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters. It doesn't matter how you have this set up. I have this set up in visual grid spacing at 1 millimeter. You can set it at 1 millimeter, 2, 5. You can do it in inches, quarter inch, whatever. I'm going to count these numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the corner is where this one is. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move it out 2 more on the corner. I'm going to do the same exact thing on this one. Move it out 2 to the corner, and I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to move this one out 2 corners like that, and I'm going to move this one out. So there we now have something that's very similar to what we have here. It's still not quite right, so I think we have to go a little bit further. I always do this a little at a time. That way I can make sure that I don't go too far. So there's the top, and that's looking perfect. So we're just going to go 2 more out with these nodes. 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we have the template. If I select it, the exact template that we have over here to start this vintage key. This was really, really easy, and you don't even have to insert any nodes. I inserted some nodes on this one because I've redesigned it slightly, and the extra nodes gave me a little more bend in here. It looks just a little bit better than the original one that I did. Now the only thing I have left to do is come back and size this again by going back to inches and making sure that everything is correct here. So it's 3.5, and that is the exact, I can lock it now, that is the exact size of our template. Now I can get rid of this one, and the next thing that we're going to do, if we come up and look over here, let's bring this one down alongside of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to design the washboard that you see up here. So this was really very, very simple. I have to start by selecting this, the outer edge, and I have to come to the offset tool, and I have to put an offset, and I put 0.25. That's the offset distance. It's round and it is inward. And I said, okay. So now we have that offset, and with the 2 selected, now I'm going to select both and group those together. Now, the vintage key has a standard 5 lines in it for the washboard effect. I don't like the 5 lines. I put in 10 lines. That's completely up to you. If you look here, you'll see they're 1mm lines. What I did to get those lines was I took my primitive tool, again, my rectangle tool, and I started way up at the top, about 2mm down, right about here. And I just started from right here, and I came all the way across to there. Then I selected it and made sure that this came all the way over like that on that side. Now, if you grab the center handle and drag down, it'll move the mouse out of the way so that you can see better. And basically that's exactly where I want it to be. It's a little bit long, and that is close enough. You will never see these edges in the final product. You don't see them up there. So now we've got that, and all I'm going to do now is duplicate that, Control and the letter D, and then with my arrow key I will move it down to right there. I'll select it, drag out of the way, bring this across like that, select it in the middle here, drag out of the way, bring this one across there, press Control D again, hold Control and use my arrow key to move it down, click, drag, drag. Same thing here, click, drag down, drag right. Control and the letter D, click, drag down, drag left, click, drag down, drag right. Now I'm not going to go through all of this because I just want to show you how I did this. Now we've got our group of washboards here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to weld these together. I will start right here, and I will do click right here and drag like that. And now you see we have 2 shapes selected, and I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to do the subtract or A plus B, excuse me. The second one down, A plus B. So now I'm going to click in the center of the space over here, and I'm going to do the same thing here, just like that. Click in the center of the space here, drag over these 2, and repeat, just keep repeating the process until we have them all welded. So there's our washboard effect, and you can see it's very similar to the one that I have over here. This one is slightly smaller than 1mm, but you can design this any way you want. So now we have 4 of those. Now we had to do the circle. Grab the primitive circle tool over here, hold down shift, draw a perfect circle, and I set this, I'm going to select it, went to inches, and it should be 0.25, press enter like that, and that is the proper size because we're going to put an offset on it. So now we're going to offset that over here on the left, inward, again, 0.025, say OK. Then we're going to select both of these, group them together, and then we're going to select both of these, which selects everything here, and I don't know which function that is, so I'm going to go to my Boolean assistant right here, and if I mouse over these, you can see that there are the different effects, and this is the one that I'm looking for right here, subtract A from B. I'll say OK. Now I'm going to ungroup these, and you'll see why in a moment. I'm going to start dragging from here, drag all the way down to there, and hit the delete key, just selecting what's in the middle. Then I'm going to grab my circle again. I'm going to start right here when it turns into a bullseye. I'm going to hold down shift and drag straight over to the other side where it turns into another bullseye, and let go. Now I have this exact same size, and I can drag this into place. And what I want to do is just bring this down, hold control, bring this down just a little bit and get it perfectly centered. And now we have what you see over here. Slightly different, closer to the real washboard effect. Should be 5 of these lines for the real washboard effect. Before we go any further, once I'd created all of these lines, I did miss one one step there, and that was to select all of the lines, duplicate them, and mirror them, and then just run them down to the bottom. So let me do that real quick because that's an important step. So I'm just going to back up to the point where we have those lines all selected. And there they are. This is an important step that I missed, that I shouldn't have. I'm going to press Control and the letter D to duplicate those. Come to the top. I'm going to mirror them right here, the other direction. And without touching anything, I'm going to use my arrow key and run these down to the bottom because they should line up perfectly on the bottom there. And if it's off slightly, you can make some little adjustments down here, but that looks okay like that. So, and now is the point where we would go in and do each of these one at a time and start welding these together. So that is the important step that I missed. That one down there didn't quite come out right. I would redo that. But you can see now that we have what we were looking for. And I'm going to repeat the same one on top. You know, I'm sorry guys that sometimes I make a mistake, but you're watching this live. I'm not doing retakes on this. So these are the same mistakes that I make, and I'm not afraid to admit that I make mistakes. So there we go. So now we've got our key. We can now do our circle again. We're not going to do that because I've already showed you how to do that. So we have something very similar to our template over here. Now I'm going to take another circle and I'm going to hold shift to draw a perfect circle. I'm going to select that, put that on the blue layer, and get it to about where I think it should be, and you can put this wherever you want. This design now is totally up to you. So I'm going to make it about that large right there. And I'm going to come to the offset tool. I'm going to click offset with this, using the same offset. I'm going to say okay. Now I've got both of these here. So I can take and group these together, and again, Control and the letter D to duplicate them. Hold down Control, make this one smaller so that we can now put our text in here as well. And all we have to do now is grab our text, and I am going to just put a line of text in here anyway. So we're going to put line of text. How about that? Put line of text. We're going to grab it, bring it down over here, size it by shrinking it down to what we think would fit inside of this box and look good. So if we take a look, that's just a little bit too big. So I'll go just a little more like that. That looks like a good fit in there. And now I can grab both of these by dragging from right to left over these two, aligning them like that. And then of course I needed to align these as well. Let's group those. And let's align this one to this one like that. And now we can get our text, this little blue dot right here, and start bending it until it fits exactly the way that we want it. Now with this bend text feature, sometimes it's not going to be perfect, and what you can do to make it perfect is rotate it like this. See how it moves like that, and get it just in the right spot, right about there. And there is our line of text. And then of course you would do everything else. If I go to my art library over here, I've got accents. You know, you'll have to search these things out. I do have a star right there. I can shrink that all the way down and just take and put that star. Selecting the star, I want to align it to this. We'll align it like that. We're going to move it with the arrow key down to the middle right there, and then start shrinking it until it looks to be about the right size. And at this point you may need to move it manually like that. Maybe it's a little too big. That looks good right there. So now with this one selected, we want to align it to this one, align like that, and then all we have to do is Control and the letter D, which is one of my favorite functions. And then I moved it over just a bit. We'll move it up just a bit more. Control and the letter D again. Move it over here. move it up to this line where that one is, and now we have our 3 stars, and we can now select all 3 of these stars and put that on the blue layer as well. You get the idea. This is it. This is the whole design. Now it's just a matter of adding in your text. So you can see how really simple this is, even though it takes me a long time to explain things. Hopefully this video is going to help you, and in just a couple of minutes you're going to come up with a design that looks like this. And I know I take a long time to explain it, but you'll see that if you follow these instructions, I would suggest that you play the video on your phone or your tablet and work in Lightburn following these instructions, and you'll get it like really super quickly. Okay, so that's about it. So I wanted to just show you the sample that I used. I bought some of the really small pieces, and that's where this key came from. Right out from this piece right here. And maybe I can get a close-up. Maybe I'll put a picture on the screen of the fantastic job that the laser did on this. And that was my original design. I actually changed the design during this video because I wanted the sides to be more rounded than they were. But this is the plastic right here, and I think this was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $3 and something cents. But there is the yellow on the top. That's the part that you're going to engrave off, and there's the black on the back side. And with the diode laser, now you have to remember, you have to have a dark color on the back. So if you don't have black or dark gray or something like that, you're going to have a hard time cutting it. And I did want to say that if you have the LaserMATIC 10, then those settings are already in my library to cut this, because I've done these before. So that's the whole video right there. Real simple, fun project to do. You can do it any way that you want. I've got some keychains that are already made up, and let's see. So if I come to my library here, I've got so here are the 3 that you saw in the video, the templates, and then I did some others as well, like this one. Where the heck are my keys? I think that's supposed to say heck. Yeah. You get it. You can put whatever word you want in there. And if you have your address on the back, it's not a great idea to do. They will mail it back to you. But from what people have told me, the post office will deliver this postage too. And the way to do this is not put your address on the back, but put someone else's address, a friend that might live a block or 2 away, something like that. Put their address on the back, and then that way, if a thief actually finds them, they don't do him any good other than to drop it into a mailbox. So a lot of people object to the fact that you put a stamp like this on your keychain that says postage guaranteed, and the postman will come and collect. They'll leave you a little note, say postage due, item at the mailbox. And as long as you have on the back, you can put a sticker on the back, you can engrave the back of it with an address, you can engrave the front with an address, you know, in small letters. As long as you have that address on there and it's not your address, you should be good, and you should be able to get your keys back in the mail. And I do have an idea for a little side business that I'm not going to share with you right now, but I think it would be a great business to go along with this, and I think a lot of people would take advantage of it. So, but anyway, you'll probably see a video coming on that pretty soon. Anyway, I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. This was a fun video to do. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.